The Robinson family in spacesuits are playing cards at a round table. John, Maureen, Will, Judy, and Penny. Maureen asks if her husband is sure this is a good idea. John says there is nothing to do anyway. Judy is worried and says the Resolute has already made 23 flights. The girl asks what's wrong with their ship. Judy, a signal sounds with the words, "Cleared to leave orbit, re-entry in 30 seconds," and everyone puts their helmets on and continues playing cards. Will. Suddenly the ship shakes and the music turns off. John pronounces that this is a briefing. Penny. The spaceship the family is on is shown in space. Suddenly, it is hit by burning debris of something. The system announces the impact. The family holds hands. The system says there's a disturbance. Landing occurs. Drawers from cabinets fly out and hit the table. Parents do a roll call, checking to see if the children are okay. John tells the children to leave the room. Maureen's leg is pinned by a drawer and John frees it. John leads the family to the hatch to the outside and opens it. Will manages to get through, but the others won't fit because the hatch is jammed and there is no way to open it fully. Will stays outside. The family goes to the other exit. The boy sees snow, icy mountains, and some flying objects. The family gets outside and looks around. They realize that not only was their ship able to land, but they don't understand where they ended up. The family watches as their ship begins to sink and goes completely under the snow. The Robinson family looks at the Christmas presents. John is talking to everyone via video link. His face is displayed on the television. The children ask where their father is now. Will starts to speculate, naming countries, but then the girls notice something familiar in John's background. The door opens and John walks into the house in his military uniform. The children hug him. John tells Maureen that he has raised a lot of connections to come. Maureen's phone rings and they turn on the TV. The news says that near-Earth astronomers have detected an unidentified object heading toward Earth. Judy examines Maureen's leg and says it has a fracture. Maureen removes her helmet and says that the atmosphere here is normal. Maureen pronounces that a month later, they are finally breathing in fresh air. Penny launches a flare into the sky and tries to radio for someone. The family tries to figure out where they are. They realize they left the Resolute on the way between home and the colony. Maureen says that it is now just Earth, not home. She remarks that this planet they are on now is adapted for life. There is air, pressure, and gravity, as well as water. She pronounces that it's like they won the lottery. Penny says that none of the Jupiters are making contact. Will is sure that the Resolute will send a rescue mission. Maureen says everything will be emergency protocol. Judy asks Will where he has the pain. John explains that it is just the after effects of the impact, and it will go away. John says that when the water freezes, their ship will be under 20 centimeters of ice. Maureen says they have plenty of time. It depends on the heat output of the hull, the salinity of the water, and so on. It's not easy. John notices that the woman has already accurately calculated everything. Maureen says they will discuss it privately, but the children say that they need to discuss it with them too. Maureen starts to say that she's already calculated everything. The sun will set in about 6 hours and the temperature will drop to 60 degrees below zero, at which point the batteries on their suits will die. Maureen says that if she can't walk, they will go down into the glacier without her. John says they can dive to the ship and get a battery to charge the suits. John pronounces that there is a hatch at the top. Maureen says that her husband's suit has a hole in it, and he won't be able to stay in the water for long. It's dangerous. John says that Will be able to get in there. Maureen is against it. John says that the boy has been trained and has passed the tests like everyone else. John approaches his son and tells him what he needs to do while the boy is shaking with fear. John is already putting a helmet on the boy, but Judy says she would rather do it and jumps into the water.
I got this, Squirt. Judy!
Judy swims inside the ship. She sees that the door is jammed and swims to another room behind the battery. The water starts to freeze and very quickly. Judy swims to the surface, but right in front of her the water freezes and the girl stays inside. Maureen tells her daughter over the radio that her suit keeps her warm, and there is enough oxygen for 5 hours, so they need to control her breathing. John checks Maureen's vitals on the computer and tells her that she is getting worse. Maureen lies down to rest. John takes the walkie-talkie, but Judy asks her father not to talk to her. John tries with all his might to break through the ice, but doesn't make much progress. The ice is very thick, and the temperature is too low. Will sits down with his father and tells him that there are deposits of magnesium, which burns well from the ice. The boy talks about the magnesium and John says he needs to go get it. John takes Will with him. Penny stays behind to guard his mom and sister. The girl hugs John and father and son leave.
Get me out of here! Get me out! Get me out! Get me out!
Penny and Maureen walk around the store. Penny asks the clerk to see a wristwatch and tells her mom she has money for a babysitting job. A gift is needed if Daddy shows up, the girl says. Penny says she will be taking the watch. Maureen pays by card, telling her daughter that she'll give her the money later, and asks the salesman if the watch can be returned if it doesn't show signs of wear. Penny tries to break through the ice. Judy asks her sister how her mom is. The girl asks Penny to talk to her. Penny says she has downloaded a selection of the best books on her phone. Judy asks if there are any scary books in there. Penny says there is no reason to take scary books to the New World, and that they are here to start a colony and expand the limits of human knowledge. Penny starts reading one of the books aloud. John tells Will to follow in his footsteps and asks what the boy is interested in now. Will says that he has completed a program in geology. John says he remembers that the boy used to like baseball. Will says that he likes to read. John pronounces that he hasn't read anything but manuals in years. Father and son climb up a slide and see a lot of magnesium ahead. Maureen comes to her senses and crawls out of the tent. She immediately asks where Will is. Penny says that the boy and Dad went to get the magnesium. John and Will go inside the cave. The boy shows them that magnesium is grayish-colored stuff. John starts collecting the magnesium. Will asks how long ago they left and if Judy still has time. The boy says that everything happened that way because of him. John tells his son that he overcame a lot to get to the mission and has earned his place. Will thinks that is not true. John says that the magnesium has had enough and needs to leave. He turns around and sees Will falling somewhere down. Penny tells Maureen that she is obviously getting worse. Judy tells Penny to examine Maureen's leg to see if it feels soft or stiff. Penny says the leg is very stiff. Judy explains that the swelling from the fracture is compressing the leg and will need to be released. She tells Penny what to do. The girl injects a strong anesthetic into the leg, and Maureen passes out. Penny takes a scalpel and lots of bandages. She makes an incision in her leg under the guidance of her sister.
It's done! Done! I did it! Great.
Will tries to contact John by radio, but there is no connection. The boy comes out of the cave and sees greenery and no snow around. The connection appears and John asks if the boy is hurt. Will says that there is vegetation everywhere, which means there are those who feed on it. He asks Dad to get down faster. John says it will take time, which Judy doesn't have and needs to save her first, and then he promises to come back for his son. Will and Judy are talking. Judy looks at the model ship and says that one day they will be there. Will says everyone but him. Judy pronounces that the test results aren't in yet. Will explains that he went into a stupor and the person who took the test cringed. Judy says that to her he fiddled too and that it was his job. Will says that if he doesn't pass the test, he will be left here. Judy says it's time to be clear. There is a rule carved in stone, and it is unwavering. The Robinson family is always together. Penny wakes up. Maureen says that when her daughter was little, she loved to watch the girl sleep. Penny says that Mommy is not allowed to move. She also pronounces that Judy had the hardest part, studying medicine and exams. Maureen says that all three of them are equally important. The woman says they left because they wanted to find a home that would be worthy of them. Penny pronounces that they can do it. Maureen agrees, saying that every problem has a solution. Maureen, wearing a white coat, goes into her office and opens her laptop. The woman sees a message that the test results have come in and Will failed it. Maureen types something into the laptop, and the results change to a green indicator. Passed. The woman calls Will and asks him to tell everyone that they are going to the Mexicans and that her son passed the test. Will sees some orange sparks in the air around him. He tries to radio someone, but there is silence. The boy starts walking deeper into the array. He tries to turn on the radio again and he hears some sounds on it. Will sees another spaceship crashed ahead. The boy and his family were in the Jupiter 2 ship, and this is the Jupiter. Will turns on the camera and says that he is apparently the first person to see extraterrestrial intelligence. The boy pronounces that the two ships crashed at the same time. The ship in question, the Jupiter, is non-functional and has sustained significant damage. There is no sign of the crew inside. Suddenly Will sees some movement in the woods. The boy notices some kind of creature. Will starts to run away, but the creature follows him. The boy climbs a tree and doesn't realize how the creature sees him, because it tries to climb up behind him. Another creature appears behind the boy. John comes to the family and tells Judd that he will save her. Maureen asks where Will is and scolds her husband for leaving the boy alone. John pronounces that he can only save one child at a time. John tells his daughter to close her eyes and sets the magnesium on fire. The ice starts to melt. John tells his wife that Will thinks Will doesn't deserve his place. John is at the military base and gets a call from Maureen. The wife says they've all been approved for the 24th group of colonists and shipping out in a month. She pronounces that the children have performed marvelously and the man can be proud of them. Maureen says she has sent her husband the documents and needs his permission to let them in. John asks if the woman has made up her mind to get a divorce. He asks if she really wants to take the children away from him. Maureen says the man has left and this is his last chance to do the right thing. Will tries to contact John, telling him on the radio that he is in danger. The boy begins to talk to the creature, not knowing if it understands at all. A butterfly of an unusual color lands on Will's arm. The boy tells the creature its name and notices something wrong with the color of the creature's lights. Will guesses that the creature is dying. Suddenly, Will sees that a fire has started all around in the forest. John and the others set the magnesium on fire again, but it starts to rain, and the fire goes out. The temperature of the ice drops and it freezes again. The family starts beating the ice and trying to break through it. Will is up in a tree watching everything below burn. He tells the radio that there's a fire and that he's not getting out, but there's no response. Will crawls up to the creature and saws off part of a branch so that it will fall down and be able to escape with the second creature. The boy is already setting up to die, but the creature picks him up and carries him away from the fire. Will says thank you to it. The creature touches the boy and begins to change shape. Jude has very little time left, unable to break through the ice. The girl says that it is not Will's fault and that he should not think that way. Suddenly, Will appears with the creature. The creature says danger, and the boy asks him to help get his sister out. The creature melts the ice and pulls Jude out. Will asks the creature if it can make sure the family doesn't freeze. The creature directs the heat with its hands towards them.
What's that? What is that?
12 hours ago, the station is being evacuated. Maureen says it's temporary, and they'll have it fixed soon. John thinks they are clearly overreacting. Don West tells the girl that the sooner they close the breach, the sooner they can get back to washing. Don West, a woman in white clothes, sees a creature walking through the station and taking all the people's lives. Dr. Smith approaches her. He is wounded. The woman takes off his jacket with his last name on it. She puts the jacket on herself and walks away. Dr. Smith. Don West says to get out of the station, seeing people running around in panic. The guy starts to open the hatch as a woman wearing a Dr. Smith jacket runs up to him and the girl. She puts her hand on the lock and the hatch opens. The woman goes inside and says there is always room for a couple mechanics. Don West and the girl go inside and the guy asks, what about the rest of the woman's family? The woman says they won't be flying and introduces herself as Dr. Smith. The ships go into space.